If you haven't noticed, this show tries to focus on the forgotten, obscure, underrated, and overlooked. So you're probably wondering why in God's name I'm talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, to be honest, I don't really know, I just feel like it. Anyway, Sonic's 2D outings on the Genesis are all fantastic. Fast-paced gameplay, creative platforming, awesome graphics and animation, cool environments, catchy music, whatever, you get it. There were various attempts to bring the Blue Hedgehog into the third dimension, and let's just say they were far from great. Sonic 3D Blast started off on the right track in my opinion, but after the first world it kinda fell apart. Then there's Sonic R, which admittedly had some great ideas, but they were poorly executed, the level design isn't too good, the controls are really awkward, glitches are extremely abundant, and the soundtrack is absolutely horrendous. Well, anyway, then came Sonic Adventure, originally titled Sonic RPG. It was originally released for the Sega Dreamcast on September 9th, 1999. Of course, this is excluding the Japanese release, seeing how apparently it was rushed beyond belief and was later re-released under the title Sonic Adventure International on the same date as the North American release. It was later ported to the Nintendo GameCube and Windows PC under the title Sonic Adventure DX, before finding its way to Xbox Live Arcade, PlayStation Store, and Steam. The Steam version being a faithful port of DX, while the 360 and PS3 versions are simply under the title Sonic Adventure, but are apparently based off of DX, just without the bonus features. So the only real difference I see when comparing it to the Dreamcast version is the upgraded DX models, that's it. While I always prefer to play the original versions of games, I don't have a Dreamcast, so I can't in this case. So here I'm judging it based off of the PS3 version and the Steam version. Aside from what I said above, the only real difference between those two versions that I have noticed is how the Steam version has a terrible camera. Anyway, enough about what you don't care about. Onto the game itself. On a graphical level, the quality really determines on how you look at it. The original release was absolutely mind-blowing for the time. You could pretty much call it the 1999 equivalent of Crysis. The graphics in the Director's Cut version, on the other hand, are quite average for the time. The recent re-releases use the Director's Cut models, so comparing this to Mass Effect Lair or Crysis won't leave you very impressed. Nonetheless, I feel the game is still quite pleasing to the eye. The soundtrack is decent. Most songs are fine, some are awesome, and others, aren't so great. Though fans of the Sonic series will definitely recognize some of these songs from previous outings. To be more specific, this game has quite a few remixes of songs from Sonic 3D Blast. Overall, on a presentation level, the game really does deliver quite well, plus there are quite a few times where the atmosphere can really pull you in as a result. In this game you can play as Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and two new characters, E102 Gamma and Big the Cat. Each character has different stages, styles of gameplay, and unfortunately overall quality. Sonic stages focus on speed and platforming, Tails stages are very similar but with some emphasis on flight, in Knuckles stages you have to hunt for 3 pieces of the Master Emerald, chances are you'll be heavily relying on the indicator at the bottom of the screen. Amy's stages have you running away from a robot that I can make several jokes about, but I'll keep my mouth shut so I don't give the fanboys any ideas. Anyway, in E102 Gamma stages, you make your way to a specified target and shoot everything you see, including that target. And big stages are terribly executed fishing stages. Yay! Outside of the stages, you have pretty big hub worlds and a pretty big mini-game called the Chow Garden. It's essentially a pet simulator, and it actually has a really big cult following, but I never had that much interest in it. Anyway, Sonic stages are absolutely fantastic. And again, Tails stages are very similar, just not quite as fun in my personal point of view, though I do have to admit the race with Sonic in Windy Valley is one of the game's highlights. Knuckles stages are fine and I don't have any real problems with them on a design level. E102 Gamma stages are also pretty good. Amy's stages are rather irritating and honestly very embarrassing to play. If you like big slow chases with big slow robots and controlling an insultingly annoying character, then maybe you'll like them, but I don't. However, the worst of all is big. My lord, this is where the game fails on so many different levels. The gameplay mechanics are essentially broken and won't make much sense to anyone who's actually gone fishing. Level design can be terrifyingly annoying, and the quantity of glitches is in the red zone. Sometimes when playing them, I just went utterly insane, jumping into the water shouting, "Why can't I just grab this f***ing frog?" Anyway, if you beat all of the character stories, you unlock an extra campaign containing the true final boss. Most people complain about how glitchy this game is, and yeah, it does have its fair share of glitches, but the amount really depends on what character you're playing as. In most cases, it's at a fair level, but with some characters like Big, it can drive you crazy. So, as you can see, the game is a mixed bag. It has its ups and downs. However, I still see it as a very entertaining experience overall, and it really is worth going through the crap in order to get to the ending. Even if you disagree, I'd still say it's worth the $10 just for the game's better segments. If I were to judge this on a critical level, I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10, but judging it as an overall experience, I'd easily round that to an 8. It's at least worth playing. So join me in part 2 when I cover the sequel, Sonic Adventure 2.